Hi, welcome to the CTE. My name is Meg Elias, and my presentation today is going to be about how I used a new software product to update my online lessons in Biology 120. I am a full-time instructor in biology, and I've been teaching at LCC for 12 years, and I've been doing online teaching for about 8 years. So what my goal then is to show you about this is to give you a little idea of all the features that you can do in here, which I'll tell you, with a lot of work, you can do some of this stuff in PowerPoint too, but PowerPoint is not meant to do this. And so it's really hard to do branching and rollovers and having things pop up at the right time. It's not designed for that. Those are like things that they added in later, whereas this program, Captivate, was meant to build this type of thing. So, first of all, Captivate itself is kind of like a blank shell. You know, it's made to look like PowerPoint so that you have, I think, this is what I think. I think they made it to look PowerPoint-ish so that if you're coming in with those skills, that it's more approachable. But really, it's very blank. There's not a lot of backgrounds. There's not a lot of fancy things that you can add. You have to bring in all your content from other sources. So I'm showing you here two things. One is the background that I have is this green on the bottom, and then I put a little square on it. I made that in PowerPoint. But then also I'm showing you here another example of another Captivate project I have, where I took a free PowerPoint template from on the web, brought it in, tweaked it around a little bit, added some text, and this is another background. And so you have to drop all these things behind your presentation really kind of before you get started. Otherwise, putting them in after means you probably have to maneuver things around again, all your objects. So backgrounds are one thing. That's how I start. On this slide, I also want to show you this little feature up here, if you can see that. This is a table of contents. So every slide that you make, you don't have to give it a title, but if you don't title it, it'll just come up as slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. So I give them all a title, and then the student, when they're in a lesson like this, they can navigate around using the table of contents. And personally, I like it collapsible. Okay, so I get a lot of images. I love color. I love bright, eye-catching stuff. And so for every one of these, I have different backgrounds. I get a lot of my pictures from morguefile.com. This one is on your handout there. This is a place, and there's a lot of these sites popping up now, where people who just like to take pictures, who like to share their stuff, just drop it all on there. You have to read to make sure that it's not protected, but most of what's on Morguefile, they basically say you can use it however you want, you can alter it, you can use it in a standalone manner, you can cut it in half, you can make it bigger, smaller, and it's all free. So one thing I learned really early on is people like to post these really large files for pictures because they want you to be able to zoom in like 20,000 times and be able to see the inside of the lime. Whereas on a screen show, you don't need anywhere near that resolution. But so I have a file that I picked out that was a pretty file of some fruit, lots of pretty colors. I want to use it, but as it is on Morguefile, it's like 1+ megabytes. Sometimes they're 4 and 5 megabytes. So grab them, you put them on the computer. I open up each one in Microsoft Office Picture Manager, which allows you to just very quickly, I just say, make it 10%. And it compresses it right down. And this file now, which is fine for on-screen viewing, is 65K. So squish it down, put it in there, and that way your presentation at the end, when you go to publish it, is much smaller. Captivate has a few little quirks about really big files, so I try to avoid that. I wouldn't say it's not a bad program at all. I mean, I like Adobe products, but it has some little quirks. Like if you just try to make it do too much all at once, sometimes it crashes, so I keep my files small. Another thing you can do is you can add buttons. This one is a text button. And so I made this button open up a text box. So you can make anything, any kind of graphic that you want, you can make a button. So I had that one turn on the text. I told this one to turn off the text. So buttons can hide or show anything on the slide. And then the other thing they can do is it has a whole host of special effects. Okay, so if you're trying to say, for example, if you have a list of things and you want to point out the most important one, you know, you might have, I don't think I would make it a question mark button. I don't know why I picked that one. But you would make it say, oh, this is the one. Yeah, you're right, or you're wrong. And then over here, I made a little JPEG file a button, and he opens up a URL of frog calls. And then I have put here in the corner, these are built-in buttons that are helping you navigate the slide. So a zoom, and you can have that zoom happen on a command too if you want to. But sometimes you have something that you want to show the whole map. I like maps too. So sometimes I have a map so that you can see the big picture, and then you can zoom in to see something close up. A click box is something you can drop in if you want your students to have some effect happen when they click somewhere on the slide. So this one, I chose to not put any information about where you're supposed to click. You can do whatever you want. You can give them instructions, you know, to see if they can figure out where on a computer screen what command to push to get a certain result or something. So here I put one down here at the door. Okay, and you can have something pop up, you found the doorbell, and this is like a timeline, so I told it to go away in about I think I gave it 7 or 8 seconds. So I told it, pop up when somebody presses here, make the sound, show the thing that's on success, so you're telling it if they get the right spot, show that box, and then hover it for, I don't know, 7, 8 seconds, and then fade away. The audio's files for this I found on the audio site I have down there, freesound.org. Also, you can embed YouTube videos. They have the mechanism for embedding videos that where you own the file too, where you have the WAV file or MP3 file, but that makes the project large and it takes a long time to load. So I tend to go for the YouTube videos. The risk is that in 2 semesters when I try to use the same file, the video doesn't exist anymore. So here's one. I won't play the whole thing, but just so you know what kind of stuff I make my students listen to. I know some of them love it. Some of them probably think I'm totally corny, but I don't know if you've seen this one, The Symphony of Science. So I find it fun. And the neat thing about embedding a YouTube video is automatically it comes with all the playback options. And so they can start and stop it right in the slide. It doesn't have to go off to YouTube and come back again. Rollover captions are really fun when you're trying to teach them the parts of things. This is a real improvement. This is one of the huge improvements to me over PowerPoint because you can have a lot of information on a slide and it's not all shown at once. But in this case, this is a lake and they need to know the zones of the lake. And so I left up the little boxes that show you the zones. And when you hover over it, you get the name of the zone over on the side. And you can do it with these boxes, or sometimes I don't put the boxes up there. I just have them kind of go around and explore, because you can have it where the little hand comes up. You know, if you ever gotten those where they have to kind of explore around with the mouse and see what they come up with. I would say if it's something really important that you're going to test them on, you have the boxes on the first one at least so that they don't miss anything. So you could just have, for example, the whole lake so that when you hover over it, you get a description on the side. There's also a rollover, it's called a rollover slidelet. In this case, I'm only getting text. But there's also another option where if I roll it over, this little text box, I could put anything in it. I could put pictures, text, I can put additional buttons, all kinds of stuff. You can also drop in animations as files. So this is an animation that I took the file off the web and I put it directly into this presentation. This is not a link to another site. The animation is in this. So in this case, it's exploring the Arctic. And see, this is way better than anything I could ever do for them. I'm not a programmer. So when I find stuff like this, where here it's showing me all these different parts of the Arctic. You click on the polar bear and you get text about the polar bear. So when they're pretty and they're done and whatever, I just take them. Other animations you can put in, anything, any GIF file. So I grabbed a cat, totally irrelevant, but it's cat. So running, and it's a little animation that I just looped, and then I gave it a direction to go. In the program, you can tell it move from here to here, and then stop. I have not done this really either, not really to the extent that I could, but branching is super easy in Captivate. And so if they say option 1, it brings you to one slide. If they say option 2, a different one. And so you could walk them through a scenario, and then they could try it again at the end. You might be able to bring them back to the beginning and say, you know, maybe try it again and make a different decision and see what the outcome is. Then quizzing. Okay, Captivate has about 8 different types of questions you can drop in. They fall in just like this, with the word multiple choice at the top, with the text right here that says, type your question here, option A, option B, option C. And so all you have to do is put in a multiple choice question, and this is what falls into the slide. And you tell it what the right answer is. So we'll take, let's say B. B is afraid of math and science. So I clicked on that, I can think about it, I can change my answer if I want. Once I'm happy with it, I hit submit and I get instant feedback. You can take this little box, automatically it comes up with a little green box that says correct. You can take that little green box and you can give them whatever kind of feedback you want. So then you click anywhere to continue. You can also do fill in the blanks for these questions. This is another type of question, a hotspot. So this is telling the student, you learned where the benthic zone is, so now click on it. If you get it right, you get that positive reinforcement. So the benthic zone should show up somewhere down there. Gives you a little dot where you've made your guess. If you hit submit, and it's right. And then you get a report of your results. And this is generated automatically. As soon as you drop in one question, you get a report at the end. And then at the end, I always put something that has to do with references. So I got some of the pictures from Morgfile. I did take one from an educational site. The lake cross-section of the haunted house was from Wikimedia Commons. So now I was going to show you the actual program itself. So in the middle here, this is the first slide, and I'll show you some of the easier things. I did some more complicated ones in here to hide some features, like there's a couple widgets that you can pull in to make the table of contents look different and stuff like that, but that's like level 4. So let's look at one of the ones that had a hotspot in it, because that was a question that was asked. See how you have your slides all on the side here? So I said that how they made it look more like PowerPoint. Right here. This is the hotspot slide that's the question that I had at the end. And so I put in the picture, I dropped in the picture, then I put the correct answer, that's the little box for being correct. And then here are the 3 possibilities of what the students will get. They'll either get correct if they hit the hotspot, or they'll get incorrect if they missed the hotspot, or if they try to click submit without answering at all, then they get the little yellow box, you must answer before continuing. So I make them do it. The slide won't advance unless they pick a spot. So here I've made all this pretty thing, and it's saved as is as the project. It's like 50 megabytes or something. They're huge. And then when you're ready, when you have it all done and you think you're ready to go, then under File, one of the possibilities is Publish. And so it brings up a thing, how do you want to publish it? And I just pick, it's basically an animation, like a streaming animation sort of. And I put it in, the folder that I put it in is Dropbox, and public, and that means that you can get a public link to it. And so I publish it to that folder. And as soon as I publish it to that folder, Dropbox makes that presentation as it has its own unique URL. And then I grab the URL and I stick it into Desire to Learn. Okay, I guess we're done, but I'll stick around. I have a few minutes, so if you have any more questions, you're welcome.